episode. You are now live. Wow. Fancy smancy. Oh, we're live, all right. Let's double it up. Add to my story. I should have done this first. Sorry, everybody. Welcome to episode 89. Bang, let's do this quick. Quickity quick. What up, Instagram? Oh my god, I got 3 different monitors of myself here. That's crazy. Alrighty, let's get things rolling. I'm already recording for the podcast. So, let's dive on in, everybody. Alright, welcome back to another exciting episode of Dave's Dugout, episode 89. We're creeping on that very special number 100, the big 100 coming soon. My goodness, hopefully let's get some guests on. Everybody that's been on the pod. Wow, I wonder when that's going to fall. 12 weeks from now, 10 weeks from now, give or take. Exciting stuff. All right, hopefully we're going to have for you here. We're going to try to get the guy who practically started the podcast with me, K. Smitty. We're going to try to get him live on the line. We're going to record his segment not live and try to add it either before or after. Let's try to get the man on the phone live. You know, if you guys would give me a second while I do the technical part. And everything should be good on that end. We're live on YouTube. We're looking good. Podcast is rolling. So, first thing first, too, I want to apologize for not... Why do it like I don't hear myself like I normally do. But I'm seeing audio levels. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Mic check, mic check. Oh, there we go. All right. So, what was I saying? Let's get started. I apologize that, wow, now it's weird that I can hear myself. Woo, okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously I try to do this weekly. Believe me, guys, it probably hurts me more than it hurts you when I don't get this out weekly. I had family in town, I had friends in town, and there was nothing going on for a couple weeks. It was like, it's the new job, Corona. I said the C word. So yeah, if you can imagine, it's been a mess. So, yeah, it's like over 20 days since the last episode, so we got a lot to catch up on. Normally, I wouldn't talk about things that were 2 weeks old. But the first thing off the top is the World Series. And like I said, there hasn't been much going on as of... So, we will. And there is a lot of stuff, honestly, breaking these last couple days. It has been wild, which has given me the urge to get back on and get back to it. Especially college basketball. As you guys know, if you're listening to this, my love is college basketball. So let's get started with the World Series. And stay tuned. I'll obviously post the time once this is all finalized. We're all said and done. Podcast is up online. I'll have the time code for if we get Kyle on the line, and it'll probably be the last thing here. So stay tuned for that. If that's the reason you're tuning in, it's for some Smitty love. All right. Dodgers win the World Series in 6 games. I stand corrected. I said Rays in 6. I thought the Rays both teams were very impressive, but it is a very cool story for the Dodgers. The Dodgers, I didn't want them to win. A little hypocritical because, they've spent the most money in baseball the last couple of years. They've been to the World Series 3 of the last 5 times, or whatever it is. You hear these storylines, and that's the argument people always made against the Yankees. So for me to not like them because they're successful, a little hypocritical. I get it. So, I have nothing against them. It's not like they're the Red Sox. So, speaking of the Red Sox, essentially, thank you, Red Sox fans, for handing the Dodgers the World Series. Mookie Betts, if you don't get that reference. So I'm happy for him. I mean, it was a 32-year drought. I mean, they haven't won the World Series since the 80s, so longer than I've been alive is the last time Dodgers fans got to see a World Series. I always root for teams that are in droughts like that. The Rays have never won, so that's why I was going for the Rays. If I have no say in the fight, I usually go for the franchise that hasn't won in a longer amount of time. Is that the way to say that? So it was cool. And Clayton Kershaw. I have nothing against the man. This poor guy, I mean, he always gets this rep of being the best pitcher in the world, and then all of a sudden playoffs come and the guy can't do anything, which was kind of true the last couple of years. And he dominated in these playoffs. I think it's almost unarguable future Hall of Famer. And now this was kind of that last piece on the. He's got the Cy Youngs. He's got he had everything on his resume for a Hall of Famer except for a championship, except for a World Series ring, and now he has that. So now you saw it when they won, especially in the replays, probably not live, but he was the last one out of the bullpen. He looked up and just smiled and exhaled, and it was just a moment of just release for him. He even said that in the press conference. He said, "I just tried to soak it in. We finally did it." So that's really cool, and I love those kind of stories. The craziest thing too, not craziest, but another thing that just adds to the 2020 weirdness. Usually they would have won this in Los Angeles, right? Because I mean, the games are usually played for the World Series where the teams play. It's one or two of the home teams, but not this time. I mean, it was in Dallas, so Arlington. So he won his first World Series 20 miles from where he grew up in Highland Park. So that's just a crazy. That's just weird because normally they would have either won it on the road in Tampa or at home in LA, and they got to win it essentially where he grew up. So that's just another weird thing. Then I'm not going to get started on this rant because A, it's dated. B, it's just silly on all parts, including the media. I know people hate when you say blame the media. But somehow there's this 32-year drought. The Dodgers won their first World Series in 30-plus years. And the headline on every channel is Justin Turner tested positive. Can we not talk about the World Series? This is what we all, we built up. We built this bubble. The MLB probably lost money. All of these, all of this. All of the nonsense was for this moment to crown a champion, and nobody's talking about crowning the champion. It absurd. I mean, it literally made David Muir's show World News, Lester Holt Nightly News, the third story in the world news was Justin Turner tested positive. I mean, not the World Series. I mean, if it was just a regular World Series, they probably wouldn't have even mentioned it. Sports would have just been, go to a sports channel. But because somebody tested, I get it, okay? He tested positive. Their coach, an older fellow, shouldn't have. They pulled him from the game. Everybody knows the story, probably, because it was on the world news. They pulled him from the game, and then they win the World Series, so he comes back out. He was wearing a mask. He took it off for a group photo, and I think it was just bad timing and karma and whatever you want to call it. He's sitting right next to the head coach. So, yeah, I get that. But he already played 8 innings with the team. They'd been practicing together all day. If you got, it's probably too late. And I never heard anything after it. I actually didn't research this. So, what's up with that? And, so thank God. I mean, there wasn't a giant spread. If there was, they're not reporting about it because it's not baseball season anymore. So that was just a mess. I get the angle of he was endangering other people. The other angle, he was with them all day already. He should have worn the mask the whole time. Take it off quick for the picture. Put it back on. Celebrate with your team. Because I'm on his side. I'm sorry if this is controversial. You work your whole life for this moment, and you're gonna tell me I have to sit in an empty locker room while everybody's out getting the trophy? No, 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 no. Nope, does not happen. There's no chance. I'm just being honest. I know, like, how much you put into something. You have to have that moment with your team. I'm just what I would have done. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe it was wrong for him to do it. It probably was wrong for him to do it. But sometimes you have to, like, I don't know. It's tough. And I said I wasn't going to do this, but how can you talk about this and not give your opinion? So, yeah. The Rays were so impressive, like I said. I mean, both teams, like, practically did sweep their way to the World Series. Incredible. Now, we're going to end the live stream on Instagram real quick. Bear with me, people. Because we got a text from the Smew. Alrighty, let's do this Masters talk. We're going to save it to the end of the show, but let's do it. Bear with me, folks, because we got... I typed in Smew. That's not going to help. Calling the man, the myth, the legend. So while we wait, if he doesn't answer, October 28th was this anti-sports equinox. Smitty!
What's up?
Hang on.
What's up, Wade?
What's going on?
Not much. Just pretending to do work and then watching the Masters.
Be careful. You're live on on YouTube here, baby.
They know I'm not working.
They can't see you, but they can hear you. One of these days, I'm gonna get it so I can share the screen. But
That's why you don't. That's why you don't follow too many of your coworkers.
all right, so Smitty's on the line. We got him. We're gonna save the Masters talk for the end of the show, but here we are. And so Kyle, you got the live stream going, I bet. So you're gonna be our update live guy for me.
Okay.
First thing I wanted to hit on, I think we both kind of had our guys that we wanted to make the top 10, or we want them to win the whole thing, essentially. I had a couple picks, you had a couple picks. I think we had some overlap, too. But I just think, I just read this article about Tony Finau recently that blew my mind.
Finau's a great.
He essentially
Always a fan favorite. So
grew up pretty poor, is from what I gathered from it. So his dad set up like a mattress in their garage for him to practice on, while all these other golf kids are out, like, doing whatever they're doing, touring the world. And so and breaking his ankle at the Masters, was that 2 years ago? Like, or dislocating.
that was such a crazy thing. I'll never forget that. And that's after a hole-in-one.
It's so, like, the poor guy was just celebrating.
You gotta hide with love. You can't get any higher than making a hole-in-one. You're getting ready for the Masters starting tomorrow, and then bam, crack your ankle. Somehow still played through it. I think he did fairly well.
Yeah, his ankle's like all swollen and like. I have no idea how he did that. That was so incredible.
Nuts. Ridiculous. I can't believe he didn't anywhere as good as that he did.
And then speaking of hole-in-ones, John Ram is just like blowing everybody's mind right now. What's up with that? Skipping it across. Have you ever skipped a ball across the water like that?
No, not on purpose.
Is it possible? Like, how are they doing that?
Across the water, it wasn't intentional. I calculated.
Oh my god. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, John Ram hit a hole-in-one that was
ridiculous.
I mean, he skipped it across the water, I think 3 or 4 times, and then it just keeps rolling.
That's a fun competition they do every year. I've never seen one of them go in. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen that, that's pretty crazy. And he is the number 1 player in the world right now, which I didn't realize.
Hey, kitty cat, don't eat that. Jesus.
The
What are you doing?
kitten, the kitten Smeal. um,
Hey, fucking
so
kill
yeah,
yourself.
number one player in the world. Obviously, Bryson DeChambeau is another one everybody's talking about because the guy can hit the ball 400 yards. Um, Not really,
Oh, dude,
but probably.
you want your live update? Ninth
Sure.
hole, he just smashed one 364.
Oh my
Just an absolute rocket.
god. Oh my gosh, he's crazy. Yeah. It's he's like real life Happy Gilmore. Like everybody wants to go to the driving range and hit it as far as they
He's
can. This is bad for all those people.
he's the mad scientist. He's figuring out at any competitive advantage, whether it's looking at angles on greens or bulking up to become big fat Bryson we know now to just get extra yardage on the drives. He's one of the guys that looks for. So I mean, I guess you could say Tiger's competitive advantage back in the day was he just started. He was intense with weightlifting. That's how he got so much longer than everyone else. Bryson just decided to have a few extra protein bars and probably like 12 raw eggs in the morning, but whatever way you can do it.
Yeah, he eats like 4 protein shakes a day or something crazy. They were talking about his diet one time. It was like absurd. Um, yeah, that really
But it's been
it really is crazy. How much it works. I mean, I would think that would affect your golf swing adding that much weight. I don't, but they figured it
I
out.
don't seem to have made it work out. Today was a little erratic with the driver. He actually just finished up the group of Rom, Shambo, and Ustays, and Louis O, the South African, always showing up in the early rounds. He's 4 under for the day.
Oh wow.
I think Tom finished at 3, and DeChambeau battled to 2 under.
Okay.
So playing pretty good to start for them. But obviously the buzz around town is just how well Mr. Woods is playing today.
What did he finish at? Did he finish yet?
The man is in. Oh, he's still out there right now, but he's 4 under,
Okay.
and he
Cool.
looks like he's in complete control of the swing out there, and it's a thing of beauty to watch Tiger prowling around Augusta.
The birdies are chirping for him too, huh?
Yep.
All right, so those three guys we already talked about. I think everybody's rooting for. Who else you got, Kyle? That is either in contention to win the thing, or you think's like a top 10 lock.
Well, if you want to talk about like some maybe more off the radar guys that may be able to find their way towards the leaderboard, I like. I'd be interested to see how the young guns and Wolf and Morikawa finish. Two guys that have already had a lot of success early on here in their careers. It'll be interesting to see how they handle Augusta this year, but I'm rooting for them. But those are two guys that can actually win this tournament. But it's easier said than done here. But we've seen them there before. Morikawa already has a major under his belt earlier in the season. So those are two guys, you have a chance. You see Paul Casey leading the way here. He's someone that he'll fall back a little bit, but he finished second to Morikawa, I think, at the PGA Championship. So
Oh,
don't be
well.
surprised to see him stay around. JT, someone I think who just got started, who's definitely in contention. And then you got to ask yourself, is this going to be Ricky's turn? Is Ricky finally going to get it? Probably not. I'd love to see Ricky get one, but there's a few other guys. You have a Cam Champ, who's a really good player, really long hitter like Bryson. He's been very good. So there's Xander, another one who's got a major under his belt and is probably going to be right there at the end of things. So there's a lot of really good players right now. That's what makes it so exciting. You have Dustin Johnson, who's going to be right there at the end, and Tony, our boy Tony Finau. I wouldn't be shocked to see him. I think he's either on 18 or he's done for the day. I think he's at 200.
Okay.
So he had his first day, a little up and down on the first night. I showed you. He had like 4 bogeys, threw an eagle out there, a couple birds.
That's crazy.
Hey, whatever the number says at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's what. So you just kind of said it. I heard Scott Van Pelt say it the other night. Obviously, I haven't been watching golf for the last 50 years, so I don't know what to compare it to in the past. But it does seem like there are a lot of guys at the top more than normal. I feel like usually there's only a couple contenders, but it really does seem like there's legitimately like 15 guys who could win on any given day. And I guess they're calling it like the Tiger effect. It's all the guys that grew up idolizing Tiger, so everybody just got better, I guess. But that seems what crazy to me as not a new golf fan, but I've really the Masters has become one of my favorite traditions in all sports. I mean, I only started golfing in college, so I haven't been following it super closely except for like the last 8 years. But to hear you and other people say that like just the top of the crop is so deep here, that's crazy.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, you see some of these guys in Rom and DJ are a little bit older. They're in their later 20s, early 30s. But you think about Tiger. Tiger's 41, something along those lines. He was. They were younger, but he was starting to come up on the scene, and I'm sure he played a role in their desire to go play golf. But you have the younger guys like Wolf and Morikawa who absolutely grew up watching Tiger in their teens and at college, and that was their idol. There's an amateur today playing with Tiger who got in for winning the amateur tournament, and Tiger was his idol growing up, and now he's walking around Augusta in his first round ever with the guy. I would be nervous beyond belief to even pick up a club, but
Yeah. Wow.
it's the effect. You can say what you want about the guy. He's had a few speed bumps along the way, but you know what? He's been nothing but great for the sport. He is the reason why golf is what golf is today, and you can never take that away from him.
Right. So
And look at me out here still competing.
I know. Yeah.
If he's ever going to catch Jack, which I don't know if he's going to, but if he's going to do it, he's going to pick up two more at Augusta. This is his bread and butter. This is where he makes the magic happen.
Wow. Yeah. And so speaking of nerves, and I think actually talking about Tiger, they said I think this is tied for his best start ever, and it was that I think 97 when he won by like 12 strokes or whatever. So he's off to a hot start at least. I don't know if he'll keep it up, but
Yeah, off to a great start. The one interesting thing about Tiger and all his success, he rarely breaks 70 on day one. Rarely. It's been a handful of times, less than five. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but it's
right.
less than five.
Wow.
Never gets out to the 60s. He never goes out in 264 on day one. But if he can finish at 4 under, get started with a nice 68, I don't know. I think it's possible. I don't know what I don't think it was much better than 70 last year. If it was better at all, he either had a 69 or a 70 last year. So this would be even a better start.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. And so you mentioned nerves. Do you think it helps the younger guys that there's no fans this year, or do you think it hurts the older guys? Like they say, Tiger and people like that feed off the energy.
I think some people really love to feed off the crowd, and other people sometimes don't show up for the pressure moment. I think Tiger's one of the guys that obviously feeds off the crowd and has his whole career, but he's also just he is who he is. No crowd. He'll come out and play well or bad regardless.
Right.
But there will be some. I think the young kids, especially if it's your first or second go here, I think not having the crowd for the majority of them is probably going to help them. I think it'll help them keep their nerves down. I don't think you hear roars going on across from 4 holes away. Someone's just made a big putt. You got to play better when someone's making birdies out there. So it's interesting, but I think it works kind of differently for everyone.
Wow, cool. Let's see. I know you're working, so I don't want to keep you for too long. You got anything else off the top of your head you wanted to hit on? No. This until Thursday to Sunday. This is my life right here. I'll be here watching the Masters. Nice.
You got the NFL going on. We're in week 10. Things are full blown tilt, but my brain is only thinking about one thing for the next 4 days, and that's Augusta.
I love it. Cool. Well, I appreciate you getting on, brother. What'd you say?
The damn virus cost us months. I've never seen Augusta in the fall before.
Yeah, no, I guess they said it's the first time ever it's outside of April or March, which is crazy.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's always playing in the spring. It's always the first major of the year.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's weird not seeing the flowers and it's just.
It is a different look. That's one thing. I love about Augusta. In the springtime, it's just beautiful beyond belief.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, I think they went out of their way to stream it in 4K a couple of years ago. It was like the first ever live sporting event, like in 4K. So because it's so damn pretty, like why wouldn't you try?
I don't know.
So, um, but cool. I appreciate you getting on here.
Of course. So how's everything been with you, man? Out to the Great West.
Oh yeah,
How's everything been?
I'm pumped. I'm ready for boarding season. I'm getting ready. I think next weekend or this weekend I might go. So we'll see.
Not bad.
Yes,
Happy to
sir.
hear it.
All right. Well, I'll give you a call back when I'm done here.
All right, man.
All
All
right.
right, I'll sign off. I'll actually do some work now, so I'll catch you later.
All righty. Thanks again. Cool, cool. I am glad. Cool, 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 cool. I've been watching Community, so that's my Community reference there. Cool, 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 cool. Let's go back live on Instagram. Why not? Since nobody joined last time, let's give them a second chance, right? All right, we're live again on Instagram. Since nobody joined the first time, I'll give you all a second chance. Hello. And we're back on the pod. That was Kyle Smith, everybody, talking about the Masters tournament, Masters week, baby. It is a great time to be alive. Is it? 2020? This certainly helps. If you've been tuning in live with me the whole time, I appreciate it. I'm sorry for not the fast pace that we're used to, but I think this is pretty cool. You're getting a little behind the scenes look here. I might just leave the podcast too as is. I don't know if I'm going to chop it up. We'll see how much time I get here. Still got to go to work today. But that was Kyle Smith on the Masters. He's our golf analyst here in the dugout. Always has been. He's really, really good at golf in real life too. It's annoying. It's not. It is, but whatever. So Smitty, thank you for tuning in, and we'll get back to the regular scheduled programming. That was Masters Talk. We hit on the World Series. I kind of talked about the anti-sports equinox. That was something I wanted to talk about with Kyle, but being live, you gotta, I don't know. So we talked about the sports equinox here on the dugout before. It's when all four major sports in America play on the same night. Well, we had those for a little bit here. It was like we had nothing from the pandemic, then we had everything all of a sudden, and then now it's been nothing again, except for the NFL. But NFL only plays a couple days a week. So when basketball and baseball are going on, it's like every night there's something. So on the 28th, we had our first anti-sports equinox in a while when there were no sports on. And that's just kind of been the theme here the last couple of weeks. Now it's starting to pick back up. We have the NFL and the Masters. So at least we have something. One thing I wanted to note on was Michael Jordan now, the GOAT, has his own racing team in NASCAR. That's pretty cool. I thought that was noteworthy. And he has, very fitting, the 23 car. And it looks sick. It's so cool. It almost reminded me of the Me car, Ricky Bobby. It's just like the Tiger, Me, 23. It doesn't really look like that, but it reminded me of it, whatever that tells you. Another thing I want to touch on, random stuff here. Halloween just happened almost 2 weeks ago now, but when was the last time Halloween was on a blue moon? I want somebody stat check that for me because that was pretty cool. Halloween on a blue moon. A blue moon is rare, first of all, because that's like you say once in a blue moon. If you don't know what a blue moon is, it's an actual thing. If you think it's just an expression, people being stupid like me, we just say stuff. It's not. It's when there's two full moons in the same calendar month, which doesn't happen very often. Usually there's one a month, but it's a blue moon. And on Halloween, I mean, like, when's it? I want to see a blue moon on Halloween on Friday the 13th, but you can't have Friday the 13th because Halloween's on the 31st. But anyway, so Kyle kind of mentioned NFL in full swing here. I was gonna start talking to him about fantasy, but I didn't want to get us going because you know us. I mean, we've had hour and a half long podcasts before, so um, and I'm on a time crunch thing here with work, so want to try to keep things rolling a little here. Um, Kyle's doing better in fantasy than I am. I'll say that at least. I think he's either in first or tied for first. If not, he fell to second. I don't know, but um, I'll admit it on the podcast. I probably shouldn't. Yes, I was 0-8 at some point. But thanks, Chad. Shouts to Mr. Wells for letting me get my first win of the season. My God, I was in a dark tunnel there for weeks. Holy cow. Just some, just bad. Just bad. Some poor decision. You know, sometimes there's weeks where you like, no matter who I would have started, I would have lost anyway. That always helps me feel better. But I had weeks where I picked Big Ben over Matt Ryan and vice versa. There was one week when Matt Ryan got like 45, 49 points. I didn't start him. I would have won, obviously. Uh, so just poor decisions on my part. Injuries, whatever. I'm not making excuses. I am. I'm 1-8. What are you gonna do? I just gotta punch a couple wins here so I don't end up the Sacco. That's all I want. That's like you gotta, and I'm off to a bad start. um, so anyway, a couple NFL things I wanted to hit on. I'm not gonna talk about scores from the last 2 or 3 weeks. Obviously, that would take forever. One thing I do want to mention though is the Saints are kind of flexing their muscles, saying, "Hey, don't forget about us." I think everybody's kind of on the hype train with Brady and the Bucks. Um, And the Saints players are calling him the GOAT after the game. I'm not going to call him the GOAT because you've heard my argument before. I don't think we should call players that are currently playing the GOATs. They're the greatest players of now. They're not. You can't be the best of all time when you're still playing. I'm sorry. I don't like. Even Tigers and he's close. He might be. Uh, Brady and Breeze are close. They might be. I lean towards Breeze over Brady. The ring argument is obviously the only thing saving Brady, and it's undeniable. 6-1, I think, right? If I'm right off the top of my head there. But, I mean, stats, touchdowns, yards, completion percentage, QB, everything. Breeze leads in almost every single stat. So, how can you be the GOAT when you're not even the best quarterback right now? Is my anti argument to the Brady people. I don't. We're still living it, so you can't judge the Hall of Fame resume until there's the full it's not done yet. So I've talked about that a million times. So another thing, this is actually I thought very interesting. Home field advantage in the NFL with COVID, with no fans or very little fans. Home field advantage is gone. Home field. Somebody tweeted this the other day. I thought very interesting. Home teams are 67, 65, and 1 on the season right now. So home field advantage for the NFL is poof. Since the merger, the NFL AFL merger, the home teams collectively have never gone below 500. So they're pretty close to that mark right now. So keep your eye on that, and keep your eye on just sports in general. I think with college basketball coming up here soon, usually home teams get a couple point edge on their lines, like Vegas lines. So that might be interesting to watch. There might be more upsets, even more so than normal in college basketball with no fans. Places like Kansas and Duke. Duke actually announcing that they're not going to have fans in Cameron Indoor. So that goes from being one of the loudest, craziest, most famous arenas in all of sports to a high school gym. I mean, Cameron Indoor with no fans is going to be very weird. And essentially, like we've seen in the NFL with no home field, if that affects teams, we're going to see it. That's funny. Little Bird just joined as I'm talking about Duke. It's So we'll see what happens with home field advantage. I would very much watch that. I don't know if Vegas. I mean, Vegas knows everything, so they're probably going to account for it already. But I would watch as usually, home team gets a 3 point edge. So uh, I would watch it. And I'd be a little more, if it's a coin flip game, you might be a little more able to lean towards the away team when normally if it's a coin flip, you'd say, okay, I'm just going to go with the home team. It might not help you this year. And so going on from the NFL to college, I kind of already just did it naturally. Ken Palmer rankings were released. I don't know if they were released on election night, but people started tweeting about it, and I noticed it on election night, which I thought was funny. It was like the one night I want to dive into these rankings. It's like everybody's focusing on the election. It was like, what poor timing. But that was cool. At least you got that. Baylor number one for Ken Palm. They're actually a little different than the other rankings. Let's pull it up here quick. They got Gonzaga number two, and I said it was going to be unanimous. Baylor, Gonzaga, Villanova, 1, 2, 3, and flip flop the order in whatever way you choose. I think most people would put Villanova at 3, but really Baylor, Gonzaga is that one that you could flip either way. And we've seen that, as I'll talk about here in a second. But Ken Palm going out a little more. They have Villanova 4, and guess who they have 3 is Duke, which is pretty controversial. Some people are actually putting Duke outside the top 10 for once, which is very rare. But like always, young players. I want to talk more about that when I actually release my rankings, so I'm not going to dive into that too much. Also shocked me about the Ken Palm rankings. First thing that I kind of noticed off the top was a lot of Big 12 teams towards the top. The Big 12 had 5 of the top 9 teams. So 5 of the top 9 teams are Big 12 teams. That's crazy. If the Big 12 is that good, that might hurt them. Especially Baylor and Kansas. And this is the argument everybody always made with last year. It really hurt the tournament being canceled because it was years for Baylor and Creighton and Dayton, San Diego State. They really had an opening there. Maybe Baylor will be better this year, but I don't think their record will be better. Simply because there was a lack of NBA talent in college last year. It's look at the mock drafts right now. It's like the top 3 picks were not going to be in March Madness, and a lot of the top 10, top 20. So it was a weird year where the Daytons and Baylors, there wasn't just this Kentucky team with 3 pros on it like there usually is that you run into and fall to normally because that's where that's what happens. What's good with Cam Newton? We've moved on from the NFL, Shisham. What's good with Cam? I don't know. They're figuring it out. Him and Bill got to work out the rapport. Bill's a very quiet guy. Cam's very opposite of quiet guy. They're working it out. I wouldn't call it over yet for the Pats. Don't worry. Bill's got something up his no sleeves. He hides something in those little cutoff sleeves somehow. But so yeah, I mean, where was I going with that? Anyway, so yeah, there's what was I talking about? The Big 12. So that's the Ken Palm rankings, and we'll go over to the AP poll released. As I was kind of saying, it's the top 3. You could kind of coin flip either Baylor or Gonzaga. I don't think this is a spoiler at all that my top 3, I think I said it on past podcast, end of the season, even months and months ago. I said Gonzaga, I'm going to leave at number 1 if everybody returns. And they lost Killian Tilly. That's huge. So they're going to drop to 2. I mean, they're still going to be really good. And if Baylor didn't return Butler and Teague, I would have probably dropped them. But they returned essentially everybody. So I lean towards Baylor 1, Gonzaga 2. AP voters saw it the other way. They went Gonzaga 1, Baylor 2. Villanova 3, like I said. Coaches poll, opposite. They're with me. Baylor 1, Gonzaga 2, Villanova 3. So we'll see. And we're going to have a chance to see here Baylor and Villanova, hopefully, if they both win their first games. Baylor's got more of a tricky one at, I think it's 18, Arizona State, off the top of my head. Um, so hopefully we'll get a 2 versus 3 matchup, and then Baylor plays Gonzaga not long after that. So we're really and Kansas plays Gonzaga. I think day 2 of the season. So there is just the Mohegan Sun coming in clutch in Connecticut. They're going to host, I think we're calling it Bubbleville. It's going to be 40 plus games and 40 plus teams throughout November and December at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. So hopefully that's all fingers crossed. Tests come back negative and everybody can play safe and let's get some sweet top 5, top 10 matchups in. There's going to be tons of games. I can't wait. Rick Pitino making his debut as Iona as the head coach over at the Mohegan Suns. That's going to happen that first, I think is the first week, first couple days. Oh, man, I can't wait. College basketball. I think this week I'm going to get my rankings out. Maybe we'll do another pod on that. My goodness, I'm glad we got Kyle on for the Masters. I'm glad I got to talk about the NFL. I'm glad I got to talk about the World Series again. Here I have my Masters notes. Kyle, thank you again for getting on here. I randomly wrote down Lord of the Rings. If you haven't rewatched Lord of the Rings in the past 10 years, I highly recommend it. I watched the first 2 this week. My goodness, the Fellowship of the Ring was so much better than I remember. I mean, granted, I was like 10 years old when these movies were out, if not younger. But, my God, that is a great film. The second one, also very, very good. If I remember, the third one's the one that won like Best Picture or something. Did one of them? One of them did I don't know. Anyway, I think Return of the King won Best Picture, right? Am I wrong on that? They definitely won. They've definitely all won awards. I don't, whatever. But yeah, I mean, and in the pandemic, I rewatched all the Star Wars a couple months ago, I think, and those were just as good, if not better, than I remember. Hopefully, some of you are all doing similar things. What else do you do to entertain yourselves when the bars close at 10:30? Ah, what a world we live in. I'm gonna peace out on Instagram, and we'll wrap things up for the pod. So guys, thank you. I'm sorry it took so long to get this out there. Rankings are out. I'm excited for all of this. The Masters we talked about, and we're gonna be back weekly, baby. You better believe it. Fingers crossed. Um, but yeah, college basketball right around the corner. To 25th, I think is the first day. 11. We're on November 11th. 1:42 Mountain Time. Timestamp on the pod. And if you tuned in live, thank you for tuning in the whole time. Like, share, subscribe, share it with your friends, please. That don't even know how much that. Even just a retweet or a post on your story, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would be great. All of that stuff helps, believe me. And thanks again. We'll see you next time.